Today we're going to build the Master of Possessions. I've been looking forward to building this guy, I won't lie to you. I think he looks so cool, especially that helmet and in particular those horns, which I cut off. Don't worry, there is a plan. So I only make two big changes to this guy really. One of which is his staff, namely the headpiece, which I don't bother putting on. I instead get some Imperial iconography and put it on there, because that's the kind of nonsense that Alpha Legion like to do. And second, this is why I removed the horns, I'm using green stuff in order to give him a hood. Because, I don't know, a hood just strikes me as more Alpha Legion, you know, the air of mystery, that kind of thing. My original plan was actually to cut off the whole head and replace it with just a regular Space Marine head, but frankly, I think the mask looks so cool, I'm going to keep that there under the hood. And the hood ended up a lot more Grim Reaper-esque than I originally intended, but frankly, I think it looks super cool for it. I'm really pleased with how this guy's turned out. And as a few folks in comments have said, I'm very excited to see his flames in Alpha Legion colors. With the fella primed nice and dark, it's time to add some of the silvers for the Achillean green. Yes, I finally got this contrast paint and I'm eager to see what it looks like. I was really in a painting mood, so I was going to take the silvers for the Achillean green all the way from base to highlights, so that way I could slap it on and get on with the rest. With the silvers done, looking pretty nifty and ready, I slapped on that green, and the green is bloody blue. An absolutely divine, gorgeous blue, no doubt, but this is definitely blue. Why do they call it green? I'm very confused. Thankfully, I'm not too worried. While this isn't as green as I hoped, this guy's kind of a special model, so he can get away with something a little bit bluer. I'm thinking maybe in future of slapping some faint green on underneath before putting this blue on, but we'll see how it goes. I've also had a few folks in comments suggesting I should have him transforming into a chaplain of some kind. And while that is an absolutely dope idea, it's not what I'm going to do with this guy. I don't feel this guy is going to be transforming at all. I'm not sure why, it just feels right this way. But however, something turning into a chaplain, definitely something I'm going to utilize at some point, so don't you worry about that. I had a bit of a lazy day today, I won't lie to you. You know how it is. Sometimes a bit of burnout, a bit of tiredness, whatever's, but either way, I got something done, albeit not much. I got the awesome purple cape base done, and it's really starting to look awesome just for that alone. I mean, I did the undercoat of white for all the bone-related things before I start bringing the color back down like a dirty bone color. And honestly, that's all I really did today. But frankly, it's shaping up already. I like it a lot. So as well as making his staff brown and sticky and adding grayness to his black furs, I also mainly began the undercoats for the various lighter parts. So this involved a lot of white. Sure, there was things like the straps and whatnot on his holster, but the biggest thing of note, of course, are the flames. So I've always found in order to get a nice smooth white these days, I do it in two layers. First off, I do a semi-wet layer, you know what I'm saying? A fairly normal layer of paint, you thin it down a normal amount, and then slap it on those flames. But then I do a second layer that's been very thinned down. And in my experience, I find that not only smooths over the paint job of the first layer, but it also gets all those recesses and crevasses filled with white without clogging them up with white, you know? I feel like I'm finally getting good at actually making smooth, light-colored paints. I mean, I'm not perfect yet, but I feel like I'm slowly getting there. Comment down below if you yourself are still struggling with whites and yellows and whatnot. And if you're no longer struggling, tell us what's your secret. The final base coats finally went on today. So this includes the golds, like the head of the Imperial headpiece on the staff there and the big chaos bit on top of them, as well as a couple other bits. The parchments around the area. All those various bony bits, of course, and the knife, which I painted blue on top of that bone because I want it to be a crystal knife. So to add to this, on top of this blue I painted it, I also covered it with the technical paint Soulstone blue to give it a really cool glisten, you know what I'm saying? And with all those bits done, old Skeletor here is finally ready for shading. Yes indeed, a few of you pointed out that he looks like Skeletor with that purple cape, and now I can't unsee it, so thanks for that, everyone. This day felt quite productive, but I think that's because shading really steps the model up. So for the purples, I shaded it with Druchii Violet, really bring out the depth within the folds of the cloak. For the greys of the fur, they were hit with Nuln Oil. The golds were shaded with Reichland Flesh Shade, though some of the other golds across his body I then hit with Drakenhof Nightshade to cool them down. For the straps and whatnot, I hit them with Poxwalker, and that was pretty much the majority of all the shading done here. I had more time left than I thought today, so I then moved on to a few of the highlights. I highlighted the purple, first with Xerius Purple, and then finer points with Genestealer Purple. Now it's really starting to pop. I then highlighted the furs with first Dawnstone and then Administratum Grey. A lot of points to highlight here, but it turned out really well. And then I highlighted all the bone and skull bits with Ushapti Bone and Screaming Skull. I'm really pleased with how this guy's looking, and I'm confident that tomorrow he will be finished, including object source lighting. Exciting. I begin by finishing all the highlights. This is such as the gold on the staff itself, the black holster on his belt, and all the other various things on his belt. He has loads of them. And of course, under the hood, on his beautiful Skeletor face. And with all them done, it's time for one of the final touches, the object source lighting. To do this, I, with no shortage of nerves, sprayed on him with my airbrush white, right where I wanted the brightest parts to be. I quickly thought, I think I've gone too far, but given how many flames he has around his upper body, I figured I'll just roll with it. Next, I took my contrast paint Hexwraith Flame, which, again with my airbrush, I then sprayed over the white and a little further afield. Now, it looks really good. This genuinely looks like some really good lighting. But goodness me, I made it too bright. So after scratching my head a bit, what I did next was took some white, thinned it down, and then brushed over the flames themselves, allowing the white to seep into the recesses, making it look super bright. Then with that done, I simply did the same ball surface sandy base there, gave him a rim job as one does, and then that's this guy finished. Now, I will acknowledge, he is incredibly bright, and it's kind of a tragedy. We've lost a lot of the beautiful purple cape on the upper half of him. But it's chaos shenanigans, it's chaos tomfoolery, so the flames being super bright like this, and of course in that gorgeous green, it does look very cool. Oh, and you can see I also did the eye there on his knee and on his back. So sure, while it is a little brighter than I intended, it's a lesson I have learned, and it still looks very cool. This guy can pull it off. So with this fellow done, what's next for my Alpha Legion army? Only one way to find out. Let me know what you think.